on, kids! Let's show the world your style! Welcome to KidzTrends!
You know, when you look at a playground, your eyes probably go right to the swings and slides, all the fun stuff. But what if I told you the single most important piece of safety equipment is actually the ground? Yeah, what's right under your feet. We're going to look at a brand new standard that is totally flipping the script and how we make sure our playgrounds are actually safe.
So here's a question for you. That bouncy, soft-looking floor, that's got to be the safest, right? I mean, it just makes sense. But what if it's not that simple? What if looks can be seriously deceiving? It's a really important question, because the answer gets to the very heart of what real safety is all about. All right, let's dive right in with the ground itself. I know, it's not the most glamorous part of a playground, but believe me, when it comes to preventing a really bad injury, that surface is absolutely everything.
So, the whole job of that special flooring is to cushion a fall, to absorb the impact so a kid doesn't suffer a serious head injury. That's its one and only purpose. But the real question is, how do we know for sure that it's actually doing its job? For a long time, the way we checked was, well, let's just say it was pretty disconnected from the real world. And this is where we hit the major problem with the old way of doing things. There was this huge, and I mean huge gap between what happens in a pristine lab and what happens on an actual everyday playground. So picture this, a company would create a perfect little square of their safety surface. They'd send that perfect sample off to a lab, which would test it under perfect conditions and stamp it with a safety rating. Seems logical, right? But there's a pretty big catch.
And here it is. That perfect little lab sample has never felt a single drop of rain. It hasn't been baked by the sun for a year or been trampled by thousands of little feet. And maybe the biggest thing, the lab test has no idea if the surface back on the playground was even installed correctly. The real world is messy, and a lab test just can't copy that.
So you've got this massive gap between the lab and reality. How do you fix it? Well, the answer is actually pretty brilliant and simple. You take the lab to the playground.
This is the absolute game changer. Forget testing a perfect sample. Now we can test the real installed weathered surface, right where kids are actually playing. And in South Africa, a company called KidzTrends is leading the charge on this, being the very first to do this kind of on-site testing that meets all the national standards.
So what exactly are they measuring out there? It's something called the Head Injury Criterion, or HIC. Now, don't let the technical name scare you. It's basically just a score, a number that tells you the risk of a serious head injury if you fall. All you need to know is, the lower the HIC number, the safer that surface is. Simple as that.
Now, getting that HIC score isn't just a casual thing. It's a full-on scientific process. And in places like South Africa, it's not just a good idea anymore, it's actually required by law.
That's right. The South African national standards make it crystal clear. Playground surfaces must be proven to be safe. And that means they have to be tested on-site with certified equipment that measures how well they absorb impact. It's not a suggestion, it's a must-do to keep kids safe.
And the process itself is surprisingly cool and quick. First, you figure out the critical fall zones, right under the monkey bars or at the end of the slide. Then, you set up this portable testing device, the Triax rig, which drops a metal head to simulate a fall. It instantly measures the impact data and boom, a certificate can be generated right there on the spot. And check this out, the gear they use is seriously top-notch. The Triax system is one of only 2 systems like it in the entire world that's globally recognized. That means a test on a playground in your community is being held to the exact same high standard as a playground anywhere else on the planet.
Okay, so what does all this tech really mean in the real world?
Well, it's about more than just a test score. It's about making proven, verified safety something that's actually possible for everyone.
This is what we're talking about with smarter compliance. It just removes all the old roadblocks. No more shipping samples across the world, no more weeks for lab results, and no more crazy high costs. It basically makes safety accessible for any school, any park, or any town.
Let's just run through the wins here. You're fully compliant with national law. You get your results and your certificate instantly. You're saving a ton of money compared to the old way. And you're using technology that's trusted around the globe. I mean, it's just a clear win-win-win.
So in practice, this means the people in charge, the school principals, the city planners, the folks building new communities, They can finally get immediate, undeniable proof that their playground is safe. No more guessing. They can get that peace of mind right away.
And that really brings us to the final big question. The technology is here. We know it works. It's affordable, it's fast, and it's accurate. We've closed that dangerous gap between the lab and the real world. So now that we can prove a playground is safe on the spot, what's stopping us from making sure every single one is?